Hi there, it's me again, Ma'am Pinky. Kumusta? How are you? I miss you all. I hope and pray that you're always in the pink of health. And welcome back na naman sa aking munting channel. Shout out sa lahat na laging sumusuporta sa aking channel. And of course, kaway-kaway sa lahat ng mga estudyante out there. Mga estudyante na who are still, I'm sure until now, are still so engrossed in answering their self-learning modules. Laban na nga, you can do it. Just keep that spirit going. Keep that conviction going. I also believe that you did a lot of reading activity lately. Now, of course, you're doing with your modules, no? You're doing with those, and I'm sure you did a lot of reading. And speaking of reading, one way of boosting your reading skill is to listen to stories. And I'm sure you still remember those stories being told by your grandparents or teachers, no? About Philippine legends, myths, of how things came to be, right? Which are until now still so alive in the hearts of many Filipinos and who are still being taught, learned by your younger siblings. Now, these myths and legends really give us a context into our world, our own literature, and our own beliefs. No? What makes this beautiful is that it conveys timeless and universal themes which give insight into the values and perspective of our own culture. And so, yes, for this episode, I will be telling you a story. Are you all excited? But before I'm going to tell you the story, disclaimer lang ha, this is not mine. The story is taken from the Philippine Myths and Tales for Young Readers. This is actually written by Maximo Ramos. Maximo Ramos is a famous author from the Philippines and he writes English books. No? His books are mostly about Filipino folk tales, mythology and legends, and he is a teacher, by the way, an editor and a writer for over 45 years. Imagine that. And so today I will be telling you one of his written works entitled Two Boys and a Tianak. This story, by the way, was posted years ago, 1st of November 2012, by Lopez Museum and Library. And so, if you're excited, tara na, let's talk about it. Our story begins with two friends. One day, two friends, Yoyong and Mente, were walking through a coconut grove. The night was falling dark when their path led them near some low-hanging trees. They heard a loud cry. "What's that?" Yoyong whispered. "Ana, it's nothing," replied Mente. "Just a baby in its mother's arms. Maybe she's going home through the grove." Then they heard the baby's cry again. It came from under the trees. The two friends stopped and looked at each other in silence. "I wonder what a mother and her baby could be doing here so late in the day," said Mente. "Come on, let's find out." "There are no people living here, and it's getting dark," said Yoyong. It was a cool evening, but his face and neck were moist with sweat. "You? A big boy? Afraid of an infant? Oh, come on," laughed Mente. "Come, let's look for the baby." Mente pulled Yoyong toward the trees. They walked to where the cries had come from. And soon, under a big tree, they saw a baby. He was kicking about and crying on a banana leaf spread on the ground. "Poor baby," said Mente, picking him up and kissing his cheeks. "He is very cold. And he must be very hungry besides," said Yoyong. "Where could his mother be? Where could she be?" "I don't believe he has a mother," said Mente. "I'll take him home and raise him. When he grows big, and I'm gonna be a man, he will be my servant. He will cook for my dinner and serve me at a table and wash the dishes. No, you give me the baby, said Yoyong. He is mine. I heard him cry first. They were still quarreling. He is mine, replied Mente. You may have heard him first, but you were for running away. You would have run away too if I did not force you to come with me and look for him. Still, they were quarreling. Yoyong claimed the baby, but Mente said the baby was his. And they became very angry with each other. Yoyong ran off to a bamboo fence and pulled out a stake to strike Mente with. Mente saw him and, putting down the baby, prepared to fight for Yoyong. But no sooner had he placed the baby on the ground than a very strange thing happened. In a twinkling, the baby became an old man with an ugly face, an ugly, frightful face. He had a dirty beard that hung down his chest, and his face was covered with thick hair. His eyes were bright and small. One of his legs was much longer than the other. He was a Tianak. When Mente saw the Tianak, he became so terrified that he turned to run away. But the Tianak leaped after him and buried its sharp teeth in his arm. Mente screamed for help, and when Yoyong heard him and saw the Tianak, he became very much frightened too. So he started running away and exclaiming, "Sus Mariusep! Sus Mariusep! Sus Mariusep! Sus Mariusep!" No sooner were the words out of Yoyong's mouth than the Tianak let go of Mente and vanished into the darkness. Then Yoyong and Mente forgot their quarrel and ran away as fast as ever they could, pleased. They reached home tired and breathing hard. Aling Nenang, Yoyong's mother, put some medicine where the Tianak had bitten Mente. So with that, it is very lucky that Yoyong said, "Sus Mariusep," Aling Nenang said. Don't you know that only that word can drive the Tianak away? Please tell me more about the Tianak, said Mente to Aling Nenang. The Tianak looks frightful, she said, but he does not harm you, unless you harm him first, or unless he sees that you are afraid. Remember this when you see another Tianak. I hope I'll never see one again, said Yoyong. Me too, replied Mente. Why does the Tianak turn himself into a baby, Aling Nenang? Asked Mente. Oh, he turned himself into a baby so that you will go near him, she replied. When you are near enough, he changes himself into his ugly form to frighten you with his fearful looks. Then, if you become afraid, he will bite you. Does the Tianak eat people? Yoyong asked. Well, he does not, she replied. The Tianak likes to frighten people, but I have never heard of anyone killed by a Tianak. said Aling Nena. We saw another strange thing about the Tianak, said Nen. His legs! His legs! Was one leg much longer than the other? She asked. Yes, it was much longer than the other. Well, the Tianak's right leg is always longer than his left, said Aling Nena. It is too long that when he squats on the ground, his right knee is far above his head, but his left knee reaches only up to his chest. I don't think that Tianak would be much of a runner. Then, said Yoyo, one of his legs is too short, so if he tries to run, he will stumble. With that, Aling Nenang said, well, he's not much of a runner to be. Sure. But he can leap very far. He can leap very much further than a man can. I tell you, boys, she added, you better keep away from the Tianak if you can help it. That's it! How do you find the story? I hope you like the story. Now, if you see a Tianak, would you also run? Would you scream? Just don't forget to say "Sos, Mariusip!" That will keep the Tianak out of sight for sure. By the way, how would you assess Yoyong and Mente's personality? Do you see yourself in their personality? I mean, which of the two do you see yourself most likely? Another thought to ponder is, in what sense does this Philippine myth tell us about our being so Filipino in terms of our beliefs? And if you are to come up with a title of the story, what would that be and why? Well, if you have answers to any of these questions, why don't you jot them down in the comment section below, and I would be glad to shout out your name in my next video. Thank you so much for listening and for viewing, and see you in my next upload. Thank you. Bye-bye.